Good afternoon. It's Sunday, the day before Halloween, and I trust everyone had a good week. I glanced through some of your submissions this afternoon, and most of you got things in on time, and it looks pretty complete. So I will be going back and grading those later tonight. Today I want to talk about week 3 coming up. One of the things that I had sent you an email about last week was the library orientation that's scheduled for Monday, November 7th at 7 o'clock. I sent out a new email this afternoon with a different link. The original link was a Blackboard link, and it is not working well, so they've gone back to the old Adobe link. I believe it's Adobe. Anyway, that link is on there, so all you have to do is copy and paste it into your browser and sign in as guest, and then it'll give you a place to put in your name. As with the last set of directions, you need to take a screenshot of the last slide that she shows, and that will be submitted in week 5 as one of your assignments. You're also asked to do some research from the library information you got and submit, I believe it's a title of an article and a short summary of that article. So those directions are on Blackboard. I updated the link on both week 2 and week 3. Okay. Let's see. I think I talked to you last week about your APA, and things are looking pretty good. Just a couple of reminders. When you are citing a source, whether it's your textbook or another article or whatever it is you're using, when you are simply paraphrasing the author's information, just put the author and the date in that first sentence of your citation. If you are actually quoting word for word and using parentheses around your quote, you do need to also include the page number. That seems to be one of the things that's a common error. One of them is actually citing and one is quoting, and those links are both in the Blackboard resource document that's online and in your APA manual. So if you have any questions, check that or shoot me an email and I'll tell you where to find it. Some of you asked questions about what I said last week, share your link. Here's the issue with Google. If you put things in a Google Doc, and I saw that there were at least 2 submissions this week as Google Docs, and they were shared because I was able to open them. Sometimes if you don't share them, the link is there, but I can't open it. So that's the issue with Google Docs. Some of you are able to upload that Google Docs so that I can just click on it and it opens. I don't know the particulars of how to do that because I'm not really a Google person, but I know that some of my students from last term were able to convert that. I don't know if they converted to a Word doc or what it is, but it's easier for me if I can do that. If you don't know how to do that, because there's only 7 of you, if you use a Google Doc, I copy and paste your link into my browser and then I can open it. Last term, I had students stop doing that just because I was copying and pasting everybody's link and it got a little tiresome for me. But because there's only 7 of you, that won't be as big of a deal this term. So just make sure if you are using a Google Doc that I can't click on in Blackboard and open, just make sure that you share that link with me. Okay, I also need to tell you, and I will try and put the flyer up on Blackboard for you, there is a symposium next Saturday the 5th from 8 to 12 in CUI's CU Center. And you are invited to attend the symposium, and you will be provided extra credit in the form of 10% of course points added to your grade. The only grade that the 10% will not be added to would be for the signature assignments. You would be able to take the extra points in place of an assignment or added to your total grade. So that is an option for you. I'm going to make myself right now a note to upload this to Blackboard, and I'll put those flyers up for you this week. So if you're interested in that, it is next Saturday, November 5th from 8 to 12 on the Concordia Irvine campus. And when you go, Dr. Barbara Howard will give you proof of attendance so that you can scan those to me or send them in an email. All right, so this week you're reading Chapter 5, Social Foundations of Curriculum. I would suggest that you read through that before you begin your project with your group this week, because it talks about moral and character education. It talks about how our culture has changed, how the culture of our schools have changed, how it affects behavior of our students. So look through that chapter and see if that doesn't bring something to the forefront that you want to use as part of your group project. And I will talk about that in just a minute. You do have 4 videos this week to respond to, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about them so you know what to expect up front. 3 of the videos are Daniel Pink. The first one is an animated video like the Sir Ken Robinson video was, and it's about 10 minutes in length, and it's pretty interesting. The second video is the recitation of a poem. It's about 2 minutes long, and basically the idea about the poem is, what do we get distracted by, and what could that, or what does that look like in your classroom? It's kind of an interesting little poem. The last 2 videos are also Daniel Pink. One of them, the third one, is an 18-minute TED Talk, and the last one is an 8-minute interview of Daniel Pink. The interview and the TED Talk cover a lot of similar points, so you'll find that those connections are real clear for you. If you haven't heard of Daniel Pink before, he's the author of the book Drive. It's a book about business models and motivation, what motivates people. So your assignment this week is to discuss how these relate to the social foundations as mentioned in Chapter 5 of your text, and then think about these prompts and respond to one question in depth or multiple questions in less depth. So you have 3 options. Option number 1, how does the culture you create in your classroom work to motivate your students? 2, where do motivation factors and moral education intersect? And when looking at your students' many and varied home situations, how does motivation come into play, and to what extent do you see this as the teacher's role or responsibility? And I think that one lends itself actually to the idea of engagement, motivation, and poverty. Okay, just something to think about there. That's not one of your readings, but if you've done any reading with Eric Judson about learning and poverty, that might strike a chord. Okay, your Chapter 3, your Assignment 3 has to do with your moral and character education student activity assignment. This assignment is the one that's done in your groups. I did email you all last weekend. I'm assuming you got the emails because I got my notification. And I let the computer just randomly choose you. So there's one group of 4 and one group of 3. You are encouraged to make that link available to anybody who wants to look at it, and I would encourage you to do that. What we noticed last term was we had a number of groups that had the same topic, but they approached it from different ways and different viewpoints and different activities. So what you end up with really is a nice short piece that could be used for a PD with your staff or within your district, or even with a smaller PLC. And they were really succinct, well done. The activities were really engaging and something that's very usable in your classroom. So I hope that's the case with your two projects, but it's nice if you can see each other's and make use of the work that you've all done. So really quickly, I'm going to go over this one more time. The directions are on Blackboard. There is no rubric for this assignment. So what I do is I pretty much go through and make sure that you have included and covered what's asked in each slide. And if you have, then you'll have full credit for this. So remember that you have one slide that's a title slide, a slide that states the obstacle or the challenge, the focus of your activity, and then you have a minimum of 3 sides that talk about the character and moral education around this topic. You have 4 slides that present an activity or an assignment that will involve your students. Then you have 1 slide about proactive steps, 1 slide about what do you think is going to happen as a result of this lesson or activity, the anticipated outcomes and intended goals, 1 quote from one of your sources, and then your last slide is an APA format slide where you will use where you'll cite your sources. You are asked to have a minimum of 4 sources of information that should come from some scholarly sources. And I gave you a couple of links last week on Blackboard. Make sure when you're citing your APA reference slides that you capitalize only the first word of the title of your source. And I know that sounds odd to a lot of us because we're always hollering at kids about capitalizing all the important words in a sentence, but APA format does not use that style. So make sure that you check for that. Okay, that pretty much covers the expectations for this week. And as always, I'm available to you by email or phone, so please feel free to get a hold of me. I try and get back to you as soon as I can. So have a good week. Enjoy your time collaborating with your group. I hope that goes well for you. And I will talk to you next Sunday. Thanks. Bye.